And that's what they're worried about. That's the whole subtext. Please don't do to us what we did to you. Do not try to destroy a campaign. Do not try to forge FISA documents. Do not go into Joe Biden's Jill's underwear drawer. Please don't do that. Don't try to take the next Democratic candidate off the ballot in 25 states. Please don't do that.
At its core, the left's plea reveals deep fear. Fear that the very dirty tactics they pioneered will now rebound against them. The illicit surveillance, the forged documents, the weaponized prosecutions, they wielded these like clubs to crush opponents, but now they beg, please don't do to us what we did to you. It's a raw admission that the rules of political warfare have exploded beyond control. They thought themselves invulnerable. They were wrong.
The left hates these cabinet meetings because they are all invited to sit in on it, and they think that this is access, but actually everybody there prefaces every report of their particular cabinetcy by praise of Donald Trump. So then they say it's orchestrated and it's a yes man obsequious group, but on the other hand, they don't have to cover it. But they cover it because no matter what the group is, if you're there for 3 hours and you've got that many people speaking, anything and everything can come up. It's not rehearsed. So they're hoping to find someone or something that embarrasses Trump. But, they're all in the same. This is, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is not the first administration. He does not have around the table Rex Tillerson, Bill Barr, HR, my friend McMaster, or Jim Mattis, or any of those people. They're just not there.
You mean people with knives in their hands, pockets?
Well, I don't think HR had a knife, but he didn't agree. He tried to translate Trump's initiatives into workable policies, but the point is he was not a MAGA adherent initially. All of these people are. So when they go in that meeting, they're jousting with one another to see who can be the force multiplier of the MAGA agenda. And that makes it easy. And he doesn't have to worry. He goes to bed at night thinking there's not going to be any of these guys are going to leak. They're not going to give a Scaramucci interview to New Yorker. They're not going to talk to the New York Times. They're not going to do any of that. So it makes a big difference. He's doing what the Democrats did. The Democrats get loyalists in there. They always do. And that's another important topic. They are talking about revenge. They're going after Bolton. They've warned Soros. Take a deep breath, man. They went after 93 indictments of Trump, none of which will ever be a charge against anybody else. They wouldn't have been a charge against Trump if he hadn't have sought a second administration. They went after everybody from John Eastman to Rudy Giuliani, to Peter Navarro, to Steve Bannon. They set a lot of precedents that they're regretting. They set the precedent if the congressional committee subpoenas you and you don't go, like Merrick Garland, and if you're Steve Bannon or Peter Navarro, FBI is going to find you on the street and put ankle irons on you. That's their precedent. And that's what they're worried about. That's the whole subtext. Please don't do to us what we did to you. Do not try to destroy a campaign. Do not try to forge FISA documents. Do not go into Joe Biden's Jill's underwear drawer. Please don't do that. Don't try to take the next Democratic candidate off the ballot in 25 states. Please don't do that. But
and yet they would think they got away with
Please
something.
Don't try.
Yeah.
They didn't impeach Joe Biden. They could have impeached him because it was a veritable coup. He wasn't even in control. It wasn't like they got Rod Rosenstein and Andrew McCabe to wear a wire or think about it and trap Biden as they were planning to do with Trump. So they set all these precedents, and now, as Bomber Harris said, you sowed the wind, you're going to reap the whirlwind.
Trump's cabinet meetings unsettle the left not because of any sinister orchestration. Loyalty has always been the coin of political power. What's new is the ironclad unity around a shared agenda where dissent is not a whisper but a vanishing shadow. This eliminates leaks, sabotage, backstabbing, luxuries past administrations tolerated, but Trump's team does not. The left set this deadly precedent of ruthless loyalty and legal warfare. Now they see it coming back as an echo, and it terrifies them. They fear retribution not from policy, but from a legal system weaponized in cycles of revenge. The political battlefield they forge promises to consume them too.
We had David Mamet on, and they all like to steal David Mamet's classic line in The Untouchables when Sean Connery says, "Oh, another one of you, who, stupid blank blank, you bring a knife to a gunfight." And so they always adopt that. Obama was the par excellence. Remember, he went to, I think it was Philadelphia, and he said, "You got to get in their faces. And we don't take any stuff off them. We take a gun to a knife fight." That was Obama started that. People forget that he was a very divisive, incendiary candidate in 2008. But the strange thing is, there's two strange things about it. They get these people like Tim Walz that, to be frank, and I don't want to be too personal ad hominem, but he looks like a roly-poly buffoon. He wears these tight suits that come up to his knee and to his elbow, and then he waves around like he's on Adderall or something, and he can't control himself. And then he never offers an alternate agenda. He never says, and Donald Trump is not, he's got people who are illegal and he kicked them off Medicaid and we're going to put them on. Here's how we're going to pay for it. And we don't need a wall. We can do this. He never does that. He starts attacking the Trump voter, half the country, when he said, "Oh, well, they get on these MAGA hats," and then so he's just a buffoon, and he acts like a buffoon, and he's not going to be a candidate. I don't even know why he has any national profile at all. He ran one of the worst. Remember how he was introduced to America? He came out on that stage and he started pointing to everybody and went like this, and you couldn't stop him. He was like Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack. Remember him? He was just, and so that was one thing. The other thing is, it's really strange to see these guys that say that they can't take, they don't want to take a knife to a gunfight or a pencil, but they have been doing that. They have been the ones with a gun. They're the ones that try to get people off the ballot. They're the ones that raid people's homes. They're the ones that go through a former First Lady's underwear drawer. They're the ones that have 93 indictments they're the ones that call people Hitler and encourage people to come out of the woodwork and try to shoot a candidate. They're the ones that have done all of this. They're the ones that impeached somebody twice, try him as a private citizen. If you look at the people on January 6th, the 1,600 that were given pretty tough sentences, some of them just walked around and went out of the rotunda. And you compare the 14,000 people who were arrested in 2020 over 5 months of arson, vandalism, assault, murder. There was not 1,600 that were put into prison. They play hardball. The other thing that's really funny is they're the most unimpressive group of people you see. So when they start doing this braggadocio and this hyper testosterone, we're going to take a gun. We're not going to take, and you look at this Martin guy, or you look at Tim Walz, or you look at Mamdani bench pressing, and you think, these people don't scare anybody. I don't know about you, but when I was went to high school, there are people who are very scary, and I think there was 3 or 4 fights at my high school every single day. And when you saw Chucos, Mexican guys, or you saw the white diaspora from Oklahoma, those guys were scary. We used to say that for guys, and this is not a reflection of what I said, but people said Okie, and they all had thin arms, but they were like steel. So everybody would say, all the Mexican guys would say, "I don't want to get that Okie on my back. He doesn't look like he has muscles, but those arms are like steel, and he won't never let go." I saw a fight where 3 guys, this skinny, tall guy with a southern accent from Oklahoma, they jumped him, and he got on the back of one guy, Pachuco, and the other 2 started kicking him. But he was like a octopus or squid, and they couldn't get him off. No matter what he did, they were pounding him. He was bleeding, and his arms were like steel, but they were, you know what I mean? So what I'm getting at, when you grow up with people like that you don't ever insult, you don't ever try to pick a fight, you don't insult their manhood, you just try to treat them with respect, and you don't back down. But then you hear these people, on the national, and they talk this gutter talk in the street, and you think they're gonna, you know what I mean?
The left loves the posture like street fighters. We bring a gun to a knife fight, but they've been the ones raising the stakes relentlessly. Raids, impeachments, ballot suppression, endless accusations shoved in the public face. Yet when the axe swings back, they're shocked and outraged. Real toughness isn't Twitter bravado or name-calling on TV. It's quiet, steady resolve grounded in respect and real-world experience. Watching the left's warriors strut and shout, it's clear, most are all flash and no substance. Meanwhile, everyday Americans remember what real respect and toughness look like, and they're growing tired of theatrical outrage that threatens the very fabric of the nation. If you value honest analysis and real conversations, make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. What did we miss, and what should we tackle next? Your voice makes this community stronger. Let's keep pushing for the truth together.